All right. Welcome, everybody. Today, we are so happy to have you join us. Today, we are continuing our conversation with DSPs and inventory sources, proprietary inventory sources, walled gardens, etc. Today, we have Yahoo DSP on with us. We have Brian Zabin, who is the VP of Ad Tech, been there 6 years. So we're really excited to dive into this conversation, understand where Yahoo DSP has come from, where they are today, where they're going from, into the future, give you guys some insights into what makes them different, unique, and special, and how all of that data that we're going to be talking about then can be pulled into the TapClicks system and reported, analyzed, and insights derived from that, et cetera, for all of your needs, for all your clients, and for all of the different advertising stuff that you guys are doing. So jumping right into it, thank you so much, Brian, for joining us today. We're very excited to have you.
Oh, thanks for having me, Kevin. Excited to be here.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's take, go into the time capsule. Let's go back to the beginning, if we could. Where did all of this start, right? Because Yahoo's been around forever.
Yeah.
The inventory has been around forever. It's always been a key cornerstone of advertising in the industry. But then you guys started to break that out and really represent that yourselves. So can you give us just a where this all kind of started thing?
Yeah, at its core, Yahoo started as one of the first internet portals, right? One of the ways to get information across Microsoft, AOL, and Yahoo. And they progressed and grew and tried a bunch of different things, right? They were, a large search partner at one point in time. In addition to the portal, there was multiple acquisitions, Tumblr, Flurry, and, just name a few. And, that has all evolved over the years. And, I think after the acquisitions and the changes, that has pivoted back to Yahoo. But that was where we initially came from, just consumer-facing internet portal, providing information and services to the consumers to allow them to navigate the breadth of the internet in a seamless fashion.
Yeah, I'm old enough that I still remember all those AOL CDs that you used to pick up at the computer stores and use them for coasters, right? We were supposed to use it for getting online, but the old US robotics days.
Yes. Little dial-up for
you. Yeah, exactly. Go ahead, Angela.
Yeah, Brian, I loved hearing about the evolution and all of those acquisitions, but yeah. I just wanted to ask, you guys have rebranded several times.
Yeah.
And so I'm just kind of curious, can you tell us a little bit more about the latest of going back to Yahoo?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's been an interesting journey. I think you mentioned I've been here 6 years now, and we've gone through multiple names since I've been here myself. And I actually came through the AOL Verizon group, right? And to be part of what is now Yahoo. It's been a interesting journey. It's been a tough journey, but we're really excited with where we are now. And if to think about it, it was Yahoo sat in one area, right? Then there was Verizon and AOL. And Verizon and AOL also represented the Microsoft advertising footprint. So then, so when we think about the old portals, like you had two of the three being represented underneath the Verizon umbrella. They needed additional scale. We needed additional scale. And there was the opportunity to partner with Yahoo. And then that acquisition came in. And then we had the moment in time that I try to block out is when we were Oath. I rebranded under Oath, which was, a parent company with the, house of brands underneath it. And that was an interesting moment in time, and it was probably not one of the best decisions we've made from a marketing perspective. But the best thing that did happen was when we became Verizon Media, right? And the ownership of Verizon helped us grow up as a company, right? And we came together, and there was no more siloed AOL people, Yahoo people, millennial media people, etc. Right? There were so many acquisitions that everyone had these different backgrounds, and under Verizon, we became one. And as an organization, as a company that had, needed operational rigor, financial rigor, we got that under Verizon. At the same time, Verizon, the things changed. The entire landscape changed under Verizon. You think about privacy, and then 5G coming into play, right? And Verizon made very, very big bets in the 5G space, and they needed to focus there. And they realized also that ad tech is not something that you can just invest in once and then it's gonna live and breathe after that, right? It takes continual investment, continued focus and engineering and resources, and they realized what's that? Sorry,
innovation, right?
Yeah, and innovation, right? And one of the big things under Verizon was for us to focus as an organization, right? As Verizon Media to focus, like figure out where you want to place your bets, right? And because we had all these different acquisitions and had dipped our toe in all these different areas, right? We weren't focused. And so when I say we grew up under Verizon, we really did from a business perspective. And we began to focusing on demand in the DSP, supply in the SSP, right? Underlying consumer-facing products that continue to fuel our data and identity environment that we could leverage. And Verizon wanted to focus on 5G, and that was the right thing for them. So they found a partner, that was willing to acquire us, and it was a full lift and shift, as we call it, right? All of the assets, all of the data, all of the pieces were just picked up, moved over under Apollo Asset Management. And that then became the new reimagined Yahoo. So it is Yahoo still, but there's still the underlying brands that are associated with it too, that make up our footprints, right? So AOL, Microsoft properties that we represent, the different ad tech pieces that are associated with it. And, again, when I say we grew up under Verizon, we went from 13 different pieces of ad tech down to one, right? Which was a massive undertaking. Massive undertaking. Yeah. I know that was long-winded, but it's been a long road. So, of course, wanted to give you that detailed background on how we got to where we are. And we're excited about where we are now. The opportunities are in front of us, and we have a parent company that is looking to invest and create value for both us and the consumers that we touch every day. And really excited to, be able to spread our wings now, right? And, we grew up under Verizon, and now we can spread our wings and fly like the kids going off to college, I guess you could say.
So in terms of spreading your wings, it's a great point. So often when people think of Yahoo, they just think of Yahoo, but you mentioned all the other properties. So as a DSP, you guys are reinventing kind of that term. You have your O&O, right? Your owned and operated properties. And so much of that is first party data that you're leveraging for that, which really separates you guys from a lot of the other DSPs that are just aggregators out there. You guys really focus in on native formats because you own the properties. You're able to get unique positionings for advertisers. Can you talk about some of those aspects on how you differentiate yourselves in a crowded DSP market and how you kind of are reinventing that term DSP with your own kind of twist and spin on it?
Yeah, it's a great question, and there are a lot of nuances to it. But I talked about the different pieces of Yahoo, right? We talk about Flurry, which is an analytics SDK that powers 5 and 7 apps on your phone, right? It's the most adopted mobile analytics SDK that's out there. That is a major underlying data piece that we leverage to help inform some of these audiences or our strategies within that space. We have the Yahoo native marketplace, or the premium native marketplace, that is the legacy Gemini solutions that some may know, right?
That goes back a ways.
And we've done some great partnerships across the board with really, really premium partners and supply partners, and created a marketplace that can only be accessed within the DSP, and leveraging our data across our O&O footprint. So Yahoo Sports, Yahoo Fantasy, right? Yahoo Finance, to name some of the real bread and butter there. And from a DSP perspective, right, the game has changed, right, and is going to continue to change with the changes in the identity landscape, right? And so what we're really focused on too is our full stack, right? Our demand side platform as well as our supply side platform, and the ability to transact against identity between the two.
Mm.
I think really sets us apart because we consider ourselves, we consider us a walled garden because we have direct consumer relationships, right? Consent-based consumer relationships. But we are different in the fact that, we have our exchange, we have data passed back for measurement, right? There are ways to do these things so that it's not just, hey, give us your money, right? Spend on our platform, spend on our exchange, but you're not really going to get a whole lot in return, right?
Yeah.
I think it's important to focus on the solutions that we have and how we partner in those areas. But at the end of the day, too, our advertisers want to be able to grade their own homework, right? And not have us grade it for them. So things like data passback, full financial transparency across everything we do in the DSP and the SSP are key to our continued success. And as I mentioned, the evolving policy and regulation landscape is going to have a material impact on any DSP that doesn't have direct consumer relationships. Right?
Sure.
And so that's really where we've started to place our bets and are continuing to evolve on those.
But as a DSP, so often people in their minds are thinking, on-page inventory, banner ads, those kind of things. But that's not where you guys are today at all. So dive in a little bit about where some of the options are, what some of the formats are that people can access, right? Because that's a big differentiator.
Yeah, it's a great point. Apologies for overlooking that. I was talking more about the full stack and where we focus, but
that's great.
From a demand side perspective, I've always stressed this back in my agency days and even before. The objective is to automate the media buying process, right?
Mm-hmm.
Media buying process has, regularly been an archaic process. Okay. And, I started my career in the pits as a trader at the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, right? Doing, hand signs to buy options. Okay.
Yeah.
And it was poor timing on my part. It immediately went to high velocity trading where data and algorithms and computers were beating us in the pits. Okay. That was, that forced me to transition to a more, analytics focused role. Did some other stuff for 6 years before I came into this industry. But you saw immediately when I came to this industry, the media buying process was archaic. And DSPs were just starting to scratch the surface on how you automate that buying process. It started with display. It expanded to video, right? But now it is everything. And that's what we're focused on, is automating that buying process across the board. So you mentioned our native environments. That is one, right? Of course, there's display and connectivity across all of the exchanges. Digital out of home is a major focus for us as well. Although we're not part of Verizon anymore, we are still able to partner with Verizon for certain measurement capabilities, like aggregated data for digital out of home exposures, right? That is a very powerful and differentiated aspect. And that buying process has been challenged across the board. It's probably one of the next frontiers for multiple DSPs to approach. Connected TV, obviously, is where this entire industry, in my personal opinion, is going, right? That's the next 10 to 20 years of our careers, is focusing on, the transition or the digitization of TV, linear TV, what we call advanced TV or household addressable, and then connected TV. And so within our platform, we have focused specifically on household addressable. So we have some unique footprints with the Fios footprint, which is from the Verizon partnership, but also the ability to buy things like Dish in an addressable fashion in our platform, and then complementing that with all of the CTV opportunities as well. again, creating a unified approach to understand reach and frequency and performance across these different channels, regardless of what it is. And then all grounded by identity and data to inform what that path to conversion may be. And you can have a holistic view of what you're doing in the space. So it's really just about automating media buying across any channel that we can.
That's
Great.
great.
Today, you've shared so much about evolution, the constant state of change in our industry. And I'm wondering if you have any services or ways for people to stay up to date with all that your company is putting forth.
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think we're doing some, we could be doing more, right? We are not guerrilla marketers like maybe some other partners that may be out there, but we do have an abundance of services to help agencies and our client base just evolve. So we've recently released our learning center, which is self-paced modular learning center for DSP power users or DSP users to become certified within the space and across all of those different channels that I talked about. There's information like that. We have regular newsletters that go out just sharing updates on the features and the enhancements or the partnerships that we're doing. And from a service perspective, we run the gamut we run the full spectrum, right? There is managed service, right? Where, hey, an agency needs us to manage the campaigns, but you have full transparency and access to the demand side platform to see how it's performing, to understand the optimizations that are making, and gives you full transparency from activation to measurement of what is occurring within that platform. So that's our managed service. We also have, we provide self-service and give people the keys to the car and, let them log in and create these campaigns and optimizations. But at the same time, you have a fully dedicated team supporting you every step of the way, right? We're, regularly providing recommendations or, trainings on just making sure their skills stay sharp. And we have hybrid service models as well, right? Where, hey, we'll, kind of put the training wheels on, that people start start managing some campaigns and seeing how they feel about it, etc., while we transition them over time. There are various iterations of our onboarding process as well to that, right? We can do what we call our Jumpstart program, which allows people to onboard and become hands-on keyboards in either a month or a 3-month span with a customized onboarding plan associated with it. So really, we know there's a diverse set of customers out there, and we want to service them in any way that they may need.
Yeah, it sounds like you are meeting everyone wherever they are, whether you're ready to get fully certified, you know what you're doing, or you need a little help reading a newsletter, using some of those managed services that you have. That's fantastic.
Yeah. And if go back to the old days too, if you want to sign an IO and fax it over to us, we'll launch a campaign for you in that way too.
I would love to see your fax machine. I'm going to call you out on that and say you probably don't have a physical fax machine anymore. That's awesome. So we've covered off on so much stuff. And I think that moving into the future is what everybody is also concerned about. If they get onto a platform, is a platform going to take them, not only solve their needs today, but solve their needs into the future? With all the different products, one of the things that stood out to me is the ability to optimize and drive towards multiple different targets for agencies, for brands, right? If you're doing branding, you have so many different things that you can do for branding. If you need hard ROAS, to your product, to your service, whatever, you guys can also facilitate that. How do you see that evolution moving into the future? And maybe what is kind of the future of the industry? You talked about digital out of home, right? With 5G, we're seeing so much more adoption in mobile. There's so many different ways the industry can go, and people are trying to, put the telescope up and say, what's in the future? What do I need to be planning for? So what can you share with the audience about maybe future trends you see, or maybe where you guys are moving?
Yeah, another great question. We're going to continue to focus on the automation of the media buying process, and that is core to everything that we do. I will say that the future, I've talked about this a few times, the future still is, it's going to be very impacted by privacy and regulation, right? And what
Mhm.
that means to how we target and how we measure. And that affects us in multiple ways, from, again, like how we're planning and buying. So we are focused very much on using our consent-based identity as a seed almost to help us be able to target in a one-to-one fashion that we've all grown to know and love in this digital world, and measure that. Now, there will be, scale will be impacted when if we're thinking about just one-to-one addressability. So we're really focusing on, what we call next gen audiences as well. So using that very rich first party data that we have across, various behaviors, whether it be search or mobile analytics or content consumption, and using that to inform our algorithms and our bidders for non-addressable inventory. So we don't know the identity of that person, to be able to still provide a relevant message in a very privacy compliant way. And we've built these solutions that aren't unique to a browser or a device, right? Making sure that we're playing by the rules across the board from a privacy and regulation standpoint. And that is going to be core to the success of marketers within this space, right? And other thing I want to say is spending a lot of time working with our partners to educate them on the measurement process. Talked about data pass back before, and I think about partners like TapClicks that give them the tools to be able to, analyze data and create insights across, channels and partners, whatever it might be. But at the same time, with the changes to identity and privacy and regulation, right, we need to change the benchmarks that we're evaluating things against, right? So really just re-level setting, like where are we right now? What are the benchmarks that we need to continue to, perform against, right? What are those KPIs? So similarly, as I talked about how we're using data and identity to inform our audience targeting when that isn't there, it's using that same seed data to help create models or mosaic attribution models to understand measurement across the non-identifiable universe. And these are key. I know I'm talking and using some big words and whatnot, but like this is key to the future success of our industry, right? And there needs to be a mental shift of what we did before is not going to be available to what we did do 2 years from now. It just isn't, right? So finding partners that are going to help you get there in again, targeting and measurement perspective are going to be key to the success of any marketer.
Yeah, I say all the time that with attribution, if last click attribution was really the only thing that was important, all of our money would go to the ABC company, right? Because they really drive hard on that
Yeah,
last click. The story is so much more robust than that. And I think that that's really what you teed off on there,
yeah,
especially with digital out of home. There's so many different touch points that advertisers can have with people where they live, where they, where they work now, right? Because we're a lot of us are working from home.
yeah,
Those things all go into that attribution story, and they all have an impact. I think that's going to be key for the future too.
yeah, yeah.
So as you guys are re-envisioning DSPs, it sounds like you're re-envisioning that lookalike modeling that people have
Yes.
relied on for the past 10 years with traditional digital advertising. You guys are taking that to the next level as we go cookieless and one-to-one,
Yeah.
as you call it, re-envisioning that. That's really going to be exciting, I think.
Yeah, yeah. And that's been a core focus of us for the last 18 months, even, just using, making sure we're using the assets that we do have to help inform that type of stuff, and making it easy for the buyers in the platform to turn these things on and transparently understand how things are performing against, an addressable universe versus a non-addressable universe. So from a DSP perspective, it's about making sure that this is, transparent to the buyer based on what they're doing and what they're buying. And,
Yeah.
we're seeing a lot of great feedback in association with that.
I think that transparency is the key piece, because even if you don't use it all the time, as an advertiser, as an agency, as a brand, you want to know, you want the ability to be able to pull back the curtain and see what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that increases confidence, it increases strategy, and increases everything from an advertiser standpoint. So
Yeah,
it's
and
fantastic.
when we talk transparency, Kevin, I'm gonna, it's also about financial transparency for us in our platform, right? We've read the news about take rates on certain SSPs, or even independent DSPs with their a la carte pricing. And when you put, $5 million in, right? What is actually going to working media?
Yeah.
And, I think it's really important that we're very clear and transparent with the end advertisers about where your budgets are going to from some of those feature sets that you continue to add on. So it's about data transparency, it's about inventory transparency and giving them the tools, but it's also about financial transparency from the dollar you put in to what makes it to the publisher so that we can keep having content to be able to deliver ads against.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's, that increases everyone's confidence, and that's the whole
Yeah,
idea, right?
yeah, exactly.
That's great. Well, the future looks great for Yahoo. I'm really excited to see, how you guys continue to spin this and develop this as we go on. So, thank you so much for your time today and kind of just walking us through this amazing, awesome story and where we are today. So,
Yeah, thank you, Kevin. We're
that was
excited
great.
about where we've come. We're excited about the next steps, and I'm excited about partnerships such as this to continue to get the news out there for everybody.
Yeah. Well, just a shameless plug at the end, right? So TapClicks takes
Yeah,
all of that data, and then we can ingest all of that data for you. So you can see it on the Yahoo platform. You can get the insights there. You can also then import anything else you're doing, right? You can do, if you're driving down the freeway and you do freeway advertising on billboards, you can pull all of that data in through TapClicks as well to see a real holistic view of everything and get some really deeper insights in there. But Yahoo's a key partner for us, and we're really excited to have you on for today.
well,
So
thank you.
thank you. I'm Kevin. This is Angela. Angela, wave to everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thanks everybody for joining us today, and visit us next time for another conversation. Thanks so much, Brian.
Thank you.
Bye. All right. Let's see. Stop recording that.